Yeah, good evening, everyone. I, Kritika, on behalf of Red Lantern Analytica, heartily welcome you all to the day two of the Siang Dialogue 1.2. It is a 3-day virtual conference to have in depth discussions about the Northeast region of India and the strategic scenarios at play. Our dialogue is named after the Siang River. Siang is the most important river in Arunachal Pradesh, which forms the main tributary of the Brahmaputra River system. Siang River has been the source of folk tales, folk songs, and folklores of the people living along the Siang Valley since time immemorial. It holds great ecological, cultural, and economic significance for the eastern Himalayan region. It is also associated with Tibetan Buddhism and is considered sacred by many. Siang is symbolic of Arunachal Pradesh and northeast of India. The session 2 is called the Lohit Longitude. Lohit in Assamese means blood, on which the Lohit River name, as well as the Lohit district in Arunachal Pradesh, is based. Lohit River is also known as Zayul Chu by Tibetans and Tellu by Mishmis. It is an important tributary of the Brahmaputra River Basin. The Lohit Valley is an easternmost valley of India. At its the eastern end, borders of India, Tibet, and Myanmar meet at what it is called the Tri-Junction. To the north of the Tri-Junction is Jechep, leading to Chinese-controlled Tibet, and to the south lies Diphu, also known as the Taluk or Taluk Pass, which leads to Myanmar. Now, to delve in deeper into the strategic significance of this region, today we have a distinguished panel of experts with us. We will begin our session with the address from our chief patron, Shri Sujit Kumar. He has sent us his recorded message since the proceedings of the Rajya Sabha are going on. He's busy with in the debates there. He has sent his voice message. He has sent his recorded message along with his best wishes, which will be played now.
Thank you, Kritika. Just give me a minute and I'll be playing his video address.
So by the time it is setting up, I'll give a brief introduction of Sri Sujit Kumar. He is the Member of Parliament representing Odisha. He's also a lawyer and a social entrepreneur. He served as the advisor to the Special Development Council to the Government of Odisha and a special secretary of the Odisha State Planning Board in policy planning. Founder and mentor of Lex Mantra, which is a legal consulting firm, and also Kalin Kusum, which is a social enterprise that addresses challenge tied to education and legal empowerment in rural communities in India. He's also an advisor to a number of institutions and non-profit organizations in India. So the voice is not there.
No, not able to hear.
Is the voice not coming?
Yeah, it's not. Voice is not coming.
We'll see this issue. Meanwhile, we can call respected Ajay, who has also joined us. He is also the chief patron of this session. We can call him for his address, and meanwhile, we'll pick.
So now I would like to call upon the moderator of the today's session, the Lohit's Longitude, Dr. J. Jagannathan. Dr. J. Jagannathan is an associate professor in the Center for European Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Before this, he worked as the research fellow in the Internal and Regional Security Program at the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies. He's an avid observer of international security, public affairs, and a long-time PLA mentor. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Kritika. Once again, on behalf of Red Lantern Analytica, to welcome you all, especially our chief guest, Sri Ajay Dutt, and Major Amit Bansal, and also our chief patron, Sri Sujit Kumar, in absentia. Indeed, it's a pleasant for me to moderate this Siang dialogue. And Kritika has given the meaning of Siang. When we shared the details about the Siang dialogue, the first question I got from most of my WhatsApp friends is that it's so unique name. They were like very curious to know Siang dialogue. It's very interesting, unique name. So I had to explain the Arunachal. It is in language in Arunachal. It is called the river Brahmaputra. So they all started googling and searching it. Uh, it's a very good initiative to talk about focus on the northeastern states, which have been getting a lot of emphasis in the last past 10 years, uh, especially when the Prime Minister has launched uh, when we launched the activist policy. So the Delhi has become more active in terms of deciphering what it exactly mean and how it is going to unfold the India's activist policy, and what will be the features of in the India's newly the proposed the activist policy. So if you look at the entire activist policy, that it is more emphasis on the enhancing the trade potential of Northeast. If you look at the contribution of northeastern states, despite their rich in resources, abundant resources, natural resources, and also their cultural diversity, and their regard in terms of treating the nature and the environment, the resources, the environment, protection of environments. These are all embedded in the cultural practices. If you go to any northeastern states, and this is the thing that the rest of the country are having a sort of a very limited knowledge about the cultural aspects of the northeastern states. And last 10 years, this thing has relatively changed. This is what my observation. I remember 10 years back, when we were working in a think tank on South Asia regional cooperation and all. The one of the thing is that the even now the World Bank is started focusing on it. At the time, the ASEAN was is a big discussion about the Southeast Asian Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So the India was discussing about the sub-regional trade and sub-regional issues, and Northeast figures the most. And and we had the knowledge about Northeast means there is a conflict, there's an insurgency. These are the media propagated news that we often get when it comes to Northeast. Rest of the news, rest of the things are sort of being overshadowed by these issues. So the northeastern states, as of now, the contribution to the overall India's GDP is meager. It's like 2.8%, or despite having its potential. And one of the reason is main reason is the connectivity. It's become a big issue. For instance, if you have to travel from any of the northeastern states to the West Bengal, Calcutta, that is the most closest big city the most of the northeastern states get access to. And now Guwahati is an emerging city, and others things. So you have to circumvent Bangladesh, almost travel more than 1,500 kilometers. However, if you would have had crossed Bangladesh, and if you would have had a permit to cross, sort of a seamless access, I'm talking about the motorways, then it would take less than 500 kilometers. So this is a big handicap. And this is not only the handicap for the mobility of human resource, but also the goods. The transaction cost is sort of more than 70% if they circumvent Bangladesh and reach any of these northeastern states. So infrastructure, especially the connectivity, had been the biggest challenge. So as a result, what happened that some of the sub-regional initiatives have been taken at least in the recent years. One of the things you all might have heard about this BBN. So Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, the motor vehicle agreement, it is a sort of a game changer. It is actually changing the ground realities in terms of the goods have been transported. For instance, if you look at the Bangladesh and the Meghalaya border, the goods goes from in the northeastern states into Bangladesh. It's enormous, in sort of trucks flying into, carrying all the sort of materials, raw materials. the limestones and the crushed stones for their construction companies. So this is a phenomenal. So northeastern states now, it is no longer a sort of in the popular imagination. It's a more of a conflict ridden, insurgency ridden, ethnic conflict ridden, armed violent things. It's more of emerging as a more of cultural and are going to be served as a bridge, integrating the ASEAN markets into the Indian market. So in view of this, I think the Siang dialogue is going to discuss all the issues related to this sub-regional issues, especially the trade and connectivity, how this would enhance the overall the development, and they realize its potential to develop and grow and thus contribute to the overall GDP. With this, I'll just open this today's dialogue by inviting our chief guest, Sri Ajay Dutt ji, member of Delhi Legislative Assembly. Ajay Dutt ji, are you here? Hello.
Ajay sir, if you can unmute yourself, please. He has joined the meeting. I can see him. He has joined the meeting. And
Ajay Dutt ji, are you here? Kritika, can you just drop a message that?
Sure. I'll drop him a message, sir.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we can begin with the address of our guest of honor.
Okay, please, your thing is ready?
Yeah.
The audio, no? You checked? Yeah.
I'll just play the video, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Namaskar. I'm Sudhir Kumar, member of Parliament in Rajasthan from Odisha. It's my honor to inaugurate a session 2 of the Siang Dialogue Virtual Conference. Thanks, Red Lantern Analytica, for organizing this and also inviting me to share my views. The Northeast region of India, which is the topic of this session, holds immense cultural, geopolitical, and economic significance for our country. It borders as many as 5 countries: Nepal, Bhutan, Tibet, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. Hence, the strategic and geopolitical importance of this region is known to everyone. And particularly because we have a very, very hostile adversary in China, which has not only occupied Tibet, but also it has set its evil eyes on our land and that's Arunachal Pradesh. Also, the Honorable Prime Minister has often talked about that is the rise of the East and the rise of the Northeast rather. India's active policy cannot be a success unless we focus on the Northeast. And I'm glad that this government has been focusing on Northeast, its economic potential, or whether having infrastructure, potential. The last decade, we have seen massive investments in Northeast, massive government support in government funding in Northeast, and of tourists go from Northeast parts of India and from the rest of India to the Northeast. There are other challenges, of course, when we talk about the threat from China. There are challenges of national terrorism. There are challenges of insurgents who are finding safe haven in Myanmar and China. So we need to think about these challenges. We need to really ensure that the Northeast is integrated mainstream with the rest of India. This is a person that focuses on research, that focuses on providing strategic inputs. Red Lantern Analytica has been great. And I greatly value this they provide not only to me, but also to other policy makers, members of the strategy community, diplomatic community. And this conference is always success. And the esteemed panel members of today, the Dr. Brahmaputra and Major Amit Bansal, said must get in mind on this very pertinent subject. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
That was Sujit sir. And now I'd like to invite Ajay Dutt sir. he was having some sort of technical issue, but I think it has been resolved. Ajay sir, if you can unmute yourself and go ahead with your address. I think he is unable to unmute himself. We can go ahead with our guest of honor, Major Amit Bansal sir's address, and we'll see that Ajay that sir can unmute himself next. Thank you. Ritika, you can go ahead.
Okay, so now I would like to call our guest of honor, Major Amit Bansal. He's a defense strategist who has keen interest in international affairs, geopolitics, global strategy, and counterterrorism. He has over 25 years of experience of leadership and managing large team in both business as well as government sectors. He's a top performer, handpicked officer for special operations with the elite special forces of Army. Over to you for your address, sir.
Thank you, Kritika. Am I audible?
Sir.
I'm audible. Yes. So when we are talking about Northeast, or when we are talking about India's look east or act east policy, we must understand what Northeast is. And we must understand what is the dynamics of Northeast. We talk about the ancient times, even the Vedic times, even the times of Mahabharata. There have been clear mention of the Northeastern India in the Indian texts. You read Mahabharata, you will find the mention of King Trilochana, who was the king of Tripura. And there is a mention of his army, which was from Manipur, which was from Nagaland, which was from Kachar area, which was from Arunachal Pradesh, and all sort of areas. You read the book of a Buddhist monk called as Taranatha, who wrote a book on history of Buddhism in India. He categorically mentioned the kind of the spread of Buddhism was there during the Ashoka's time. So net to net, this northeastern part of India has got a very, very strong cultural, religious, and political connect with India, right from the ancient period, medieval period. Even it has been very, very strong during the Mughal period, and it continued to so. Also, the northeastern India has acted as a bridge, primary bridge between India and the Southeast Asia. We know the kind of the religion, Hinduism, which is spread in Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Khmer Kingdom, Thailand, and all these places. And there has been a connect with that. With this, I'll come to the main part. When we are again talking about this northeastern India, we're talking about the Seven Sisters, we must understand what the dynamics is. If we see India as a part, as a whole, so there are a total of 7 countries with whom India has got its land border. And out of which, if you keep Afghanistan as an exception, because the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is a hindrance in between right now. So out of 6 remaining states, 5 have got their borders with Northeast India. Nepal, Bhutan, China, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. Now, if you see all these 5 countries, these 5 countries have got different dynamics, different relations with India, and India's relations with each of these 5 countries are totally different on a different kind of dynamics. So you cannot equate 2 countries put together. With India and Nepal, there are different kind of relations. With India and Bhutan, I've got different kind of relations. China, of course, we know well. Bangladesh, India carries a different kind of relationship. And with Myanmar, the relationship is tipsy-toes and keeps on ups and downs are there. With each country, we have got many challenges. Coming down to the Indian territory now, we talk about Indian states. As we saw, of course, 5 countries are bordering us. The 7 sisters, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Sikkim. 7 states have got their own challenges, own dynamics. And they're not the same. Though they are interconnected to each other, they're connected, they both have similar kind of thing, but they're not the same. In these states, we have been facing multiple challenges. And that was the reason why government has decided to launch its Act East policy. We launched this Look East policy in the 1991. But since 91 till 2014 and till date, not of much of development could take place. It was not visible at all. So when government launched this policy of Act East policy in 2014, it concentrated on 4 Cs. 4 Cs which are required with pretext of the northeastern states. The first C is the culture, to develop their culture, because these states carry a very, very rich culture. Number 2 is the commerce. Why commerce? Because commerce, and the fourth one, capacity building. Commerce and capacity building both are interconnected, because each one of these 7 states are dependent on the central government for their developmental funds. They are not self-sufficient. If you have to make them self-sufficient, you have to concentrate on their commerce, you have to concentrate on their capacity building also. And the fourth C is the most important, is the connectivity. I remember the days when in Arunachal, army patrols used to take 4 days, 5 days to reach from one place to other place. Today, that same journey can be completed in less than a day. We must be hearing the stories of 1962 war, where the Sela Pass, Bumla Pass, they were almost inaccessible. It used to take 3 days, 4 days to reach those places. Now you can reach on the same day and come back by the same day. So that kind of road connectivity we are talking about. Coming back to the challenges. One of the biggest challenge which we are facing in the northeastern states is almost 8 decades of insurgency. Right? Even in some of the states had the insurgency prior to the independence also. And if we take the tribal attacks also into the consideration, so there have been a lot of tribal attacks on the British forces also. So this time frame goes into up to 2 centuries. The second biggest challenge, which we as part of the North India and we people maybe sitting in the Delhi, we are not able to understand. And the day we'll be able to understand this challenge, I think most of the problems, most of the issues will be overcome. And the second and the most important aspect is that understanding tribal mindset. Out of the total tribal groups of India, 35% of them stay in this small area of 7 sisters. We have got more than 271 tribal groups all over India, out of which 35% are in Northeast. And each of these tribal group has got the different culture, different language, different traditions, different dialects. So with such diverse population, such diverse human resource, such diverse people, one need to understand the tribal mindset. Being a border state, there have been a lot of proliferation of drugs. Some are coming from across the border, some are being grown over there. Another most important aspect is last decades and decades and decades of ignorance by the government. Development was just not happening. Nobody was bothered to develop on connectivity. Nobody was bothered about developing their commerce. Nobody was bothered to give them even job. So ultimately, if you ignore somebody for a long period of time, you will face the kind of challenges which we are facing in last 2 to 3 decades. Another major challenge is the terrain. The entire terrain is mountainous. You can't have most of the land is not arable. You can't grow agriculture. You can't develop industries over there. You can't have, there are a lot of connectivity problems also. Going from one mountain to another, you have to connect a bridge. You have to, a lot of issues are there. And these reasons have contributed drastically towards the non-development of these northeastern states. See, I've been to the northeast, I've been to the Manipur, Nagaland, and even Assam and Arunachal, seen the utmost kind of poverty in the villages, utmost kind of poverty. You cannot imagine the kind of poverty people are, although people are known to self-sustain over there. So, and they don't have any place to beg, but they are hands to mouth. And after so many years of independence, if they are in such a state, then somewhere we are responsible for that. Coming on to the separatist movement in Northeast. Another biggest cause, whatever funding, whatever things are going from India, most of it has been pocketed by the separatist groups who have been fighting for last so many decades. Starting from the Mizo insurgency, which was the fiercest of all, and lasted for about 2 decades. Manipur, again, more than 50, 60 years, the insurgency has been there. Naga insurgency, we know the kind of the ugly part of it. Of course, things are now cooled down because of the ceasefire suspension of operations. But we saw the ugly part of Naga insurgency prior to 1997. We also have Ulfa in Assam. We also have Bodo insurgency in Assam, Karbi Anglong insurgency. We have got insurgency. We had insurgency in Tripura. So barring Sikkim, I do not see there was any state of Northeast which was untouched from any kind of insurgency. Every state has insurgency. Even the northern part of Bengal, also West Bengal, which is the gateway to the Northeast. Some of these insurgent groups were supported by the external factors like China. Some were not. But one thing was very, very common. Each and every group had very, very strong backing of its own tribal group. We talk about Manipur, the Meitei groups have got very, very strong support of their Meitei community. Kuki Zo groups have got a very strong support of their Kuki Zo community. In Nagaland, Naga groups have got a very strong support of Naga community and vice versa. Despite of so many peace accords, despite of so many suspension of operations, things are still simmering. And when they're simmering under the water level, we don't know how they'll emerge and what will happen in the future. We take the example of the 7-month-long conflict in Manipur. Things are still not resolved. Things are still going on a wrong tangent. And it is not the people, it's not the groups which are fighting, it's the communities which are fighting. So why, as I said, the dynamics of Northeast, which is important for us. I spoke about the 5 countries which are touching it. If we go beyond these 5 countries, what lies in front of us? And what makes Northeast a gateway to the growth? And what forced government to launch its Act East policy is something beyond Northeast. When we talk about India's development, we are talking about making India as a developed country by 2050. We are talking about our economic development. We see a very, very rich market beyond our borders, which is ASEAN, Southeast Asia. It is a market which is totally captured by China. And India's share in its market is very, very less. Now, why it is less? Because of logistic issues. If I had to send some stuff to ASEAN countries, the only route I have is a sea route. It takes time. My goods get spoiled. It takes months. Plus, it crosses through various countries. It crosses through Indonesia, Malaysia, and all other countries. So it has to pay its taxes at all the places. Every cargo ship is paying its duty. So finally, when the goods are going and reaching the main ASEAN countries, not only it is quite expensive, but also it is taking a lot of lag time. As an alternative, if we have a land route connecting India to these ASEAN countries, we can not only have a direct connectivity, but our cost also will be roughly 1/5 of what we are doing it now. Just trying to put a figure on the trade of these ASEAN countries, the market, size of the market. If we see the bilateral trade of China, only China with these ASEAN countries, that is pegged at somewhere around $1.2 to $1.3 trillion every year, which is a huge figure, 1.2 to 1.3 trillion dollars. On the other hand, if we see India's share in the trade, it is roughly hovering at around this year, this last financial year, we did about $131.5 billion, which is 1/10 of what China is doing. India has got the capacity. India is developing very, very fast. We have got the products, and we have got the products which can rock the ASEAN market. And that is the biggest worry of China. Today, if we have a road connectivity, we have a permanent road connectivity through India's Northeast under the Act East policy. They are already developing an Indo-Myanmar Thailand trilateral highway. And if the operations start through this ICP, More, and all these things will start, India will have a direct connectivity, land connectivity with Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam. So you can see the overall impact on the trade. So the kind of trade imbalance which this area is having, and the kind of monopoly which China is enjoying over there, it ends to end. It will end. What we must do now? It is very high time, because already a lot of time has passed. See, we have been thinking of Myanmar Friendship Highway for last 25 years, 30 years rather so. But it could not materialize even till date. We have been talking about our Act East policy since 1991. But we could not materialize it till now. Even we are talking about Act East policy, which Look East policy was 1991, my apologies, and Act East policy in 2014. It has been 9 years. But if you see the development towards the Act East policy, it is not as we expected. So need to make leaps into that. Connectivity is major issue. Keeping the things at calm is a major problem. Because you connect the road, you do everything, you develop the infrastructure, but if there is insurgency, if there is strike in the state, if they don't allow your goods to pass through, what will you do? Similarly, if you don't do the capacity building, people will remain unemployed, and unemployed youth will, what will do? They'll join these underground groups, further create problems. So Act East policy has to move very, very fast and very, very swift, and in a time-bound manner, while keeping in view and while considering the challenges. Insurgency is one challenge, connectivity is one challenge, politics also is one challenge, because the kind of politics Northeast has got altogether a different game plan. And why it has been happening? China is not allowing it. Recently, in the Manipur conflict, we saw the statement even from the top leaders of the India. They said there is an external hand. So why there is an external hand? Who wants to do it? Certainly, China would not like to lose his $1.3, $1.4 trillion market. Who would like to lose it? Nobody would like to lose it. The way China has been working, China wants to be the only superpower in Asia. It does not want anybody else to be the superpower. And that has been reflecting in their own, all these things. So China is having kind of triple challenge in front of us. One is the security challenge. Second is the trade challenge or commercial challenge. And third is the cultural challenge, which is also very, very important. I can place it on the record. You can also, the audience can also Google about it. China currently has border disputes with every country it shares its borders with. There's no country with whom China shares its borders and it doesn't have any border dispute. Point two is very interesting again. Last 100 years, China has never ratified any of the bilateral border treaty with any of these countries or any of its neighbors. It has never ratified. So what it'll certify, it will say, okay, the border dispute will continue to remain. China will never try to resolve it. You can see also, you see the example of 9-dash line, 10-dash line. It is totally impractical. Anybody would laugh at it. The kind of borders he has created in South China Sea, the kind of claim it's creating in South China Sea. Now, India is emerging as the only contender which can shatter the Chinese ambitions. So what it is doing, it is surrounding India directly, indirectly. It is launching its projects in Pakistan. So indirectly, in West also it is surrounding. It has got its investments in Myanmar also. So it is doing it in the East also. And things have been flaring up. We have seen the Doklam clashes. We have seen Galwan clashes. So things are now simmering. So security challenge in the Eastern India is going to be a very, very big challenge for the defense forces and for the government of India in the future. Of course, one of the factors is Tibet and the Dalai Lama also, for which China has been crying a lot. And recently, when India became a part of Quad and started being very cozy with the US, so that is also not liked by China very well. Coming on to the commerce. Again, China wants to be having a complete trade monopoly, not only in Asia, but in the world. And if you see today, if you see the IMF projections for today, tomorrow, maybe the next year, next 5 years, you'll find India is going to be the fastest growing economy in the world. And that is a major cause of worry for China. So it wants to create as much as interference it can, specifically in the Northeast India, so that this growth can be stalled even if it can achieve 1% of it. It wants to disturb the Indian footprints in ASEAN. We are spreading quite fast. You see, we have launched BIMSTEC, and the way BIMSTEC has made progress in last 7-8 years, it is growing pretty fast. And in Manipur, there have been direct evidence. Their insurgent groups, some of the valley-based insurgent groups, have got a direct linkage with China. Coming on to the culture, and we'll close this. I'll close this topic. So again, China is destroying Tibetan culture. You see, monasteries have been shut down. They have been destroyed. Tibetan educational institutes have been shut down. It is also affecting India's spiritual connectivity with China, because Tibet is the only place, Tibet is the only land which was spiritually acting as a bridge between India and China. Why? Because China works in a sense of superiority, where it thinks that in everybody in China, if you see Chinese social media, if you see Chinese app, if you see the comments of Chinese people on all these kind of things, you'll find China often tries to mock India. It tries to make fun of India. Why? Because China thinks that they've got a sense of superiority, and they think that they are the center of the world, and the entire world should revolve around them. And this is the thinking which is going to finish them. Let me tell you. So coming on to summarizing this entire topic, if something is connecting India to the Southeast Asia and the rest of the Asia, if some part is acting as a bridge between India and the rest of the Asia, of course, Middle East is a different part of it, but yes, most of the Asia. And ASEAN has been a part and parcel of our culture. We have been spiritually connected, we have been culturally connected, we have been religiously connected, and we have been connected with the trade in the past also. So, in order to end Chinese monopoly, and in order to make India a superpower, India has to approach these ASEAN markets. And to approach ASEAN markets, the only way is India's northeast part, the Seven Sisters. And to develop the Seven Sisters, a very, very swift and very, very fast and very, very time-based action towards the Act East policy is required. We have to be very, very fast, and we have to do leaps in Act East policy. That's what I have to say. Thank you, Kritika.
Thank you so much, sir, for your. My voice is echoing, I think, from your side. Now I would like to call our chief guest, Shri Ajay Dutt. Shri Ajay Dutt is the member of the Legislative Assembly of Delhi. He is the chairman of many national and international forums. He is chairman of International Peace and Human Rights Federation, a founding member of Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China, World Peacekeeper of United Nations Peacekeepers Federal Council, and the list goes on. So please, I would like to request our chief guest to please give us his address.
Good evening to everyone. Unfortunately, I am on travel, so and also I was not able to connect through one phone, so I have taken another phone of somebody and connecting it now. First of all, I would like to thank the entire team of Red Lantern and Abhishek and the entire team who has actually organized this great discussion and dialogue. It is not just about the Northeast, but about our country, because Northeast is a very significant part of our country, and it has a very important political and also cultural connect with our country. To understand the role of the Northeast in Act East policy, it is a very important to understand that the Northeast as a region and the history of its relationship with the Southeast Asian. The reason is basically, about all 8 states. and we call them as a seven sister states and one brother state. This term shows how closely they are linked, and their communication, they share their heritage, they share their culture, and also it has a very important historical background, which we get lot of information from Mahabharata, Ramayana, and also in Purana as to how these states are important and have a very strong historical background. The northeast region of India has long served as a hub of the converging of various ethnic groups, religious tradition, and cultural practices. Uh, Place, it's a very, I would say, a magical place, beautiful place where the environment is clean, and it also produces a lot of minerals, lot of important metals, which is very species metals, and there are more than 200 different ethnic groups which is residing in these states. So this state is very rich in everything, and also from a political point of view, this state is also a border of many state, which is China, Myanmar, and also it is a gateway of Thailand, and also we see a lot of uh, practical reason of water flow from these states to many other Indian states. So it has a very big significance. And northeast is these days is affected by China's control and its management. So we see China is try to control the water. It's trying to impact the economy of these states, but still these four states are always standing strong, and it has a very strong political and geographical presence, which create a very strong boundary to the entire India. Northeast India is a diverse region that has a lot of impact by countries from South Asia, Southeast Asia, and East Asia. The region enjoy a strategic location at the meeting point as Southeast Asia and South Asia. Uh, Northeast India and Southeast Asia has extensive historical and cultural connects. It also has an economical connect. However, the act now we see a lot of connection between Myanmar, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and Northeast Asia's states, which has a strategic exchange. It also many times been called as a strategic gateway, which facilitate the trade, culture, and also create the economic system and economic exchange, which actually produce a lot of business opportunity to the people who are part of India. Uh, Now, the Act East policy recognize the historical and cultural ties, and also in recent past we have seen that Indian government also tried to create some ecosystem which can create opportunity for these states, but uh, sadly to say that in this year we have seen lot of imbalance in some of the states, especially Manipur, and which has impacted very negative economical and also human right issues, which should have been managed well, but I don't know for what reason it could not manage well, because uh, it has actually uh, taken a lot of life, which was very sad. And I think as a Indian, we are there with all people who have got impacted, and we have a solidarity with them. And I wish that these all eight sister and brother states should uh, come out from all these issues which are there. And then later on, we have also seen there was a flood in one of these states. So I think um, um, the northeast state have been seeing some or other problem this year, and I sincerely pray to Lord to actually give them strength and mercy so that they can become much more stronger as they used to be there before. And I think the workforce and the people of Northeast state are, pretty strong. They have a multicultural, multi-language people which are contributing a lot of uh, you know uh, strong values to the not only to the Indian other state and India, but also to the other countries. Northeast state is also important in India for diplomatic involvement with the Indo-Pacific region. The northeastern states act as a geographical bridge linking the Bay of Bengal and Himachal range. And also, it basically create the policies for surrounding areas, surrounding states and surrounding country with its proximity to the Bay of Bengal and also the Indian Ocean, which also is very crucial for our political region. The Northeast region has a huge economic potential that is yet to be explored, and I think we should explore those economic potential which can grow the people who are staying there. And it if we really help the state to create natural resources, and also use these natural resources like oil, timber, natural gas, and many more things. Particularly in Assam, there are a lot more. I heard there are a lot of crude oil and natural gases which can actually which can save our uh, uh, which can boost our economy, and also uh, save our import from the other countries in terms of the oil and gases. So Northeast is a very beautiful place, and I think today there is a need for supporting and connecting these states. Am I not audible? Am I not audible?
No, no, you're
Am I
audible.
not?
Very much
I'm
audible.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in totality, I would say the Northeast acts as a strategic gateway of India, and I think we should also create policy and create connectivity, economic opportunity, uh, you know, culture exchange, and diplomatic relationship with all other Southeast Asian countries. Uh, the reason, this particular region is very unique in its geographical presence and also cultural presence, which has actually had a very strong connects to the Hindu, so-called Hindu culture, and it is a key player. I think when India is shaping, the Northeast also shape and engage with the dynamic and economic support, and also to create the relationship with Southeast Asia and nearby country. Also, when we and if we could, when I say we, means the entire India, if we can create some more better ecosystem for the all these 8 states, then the China pressure also can uh, be managed, and also we can create a greater India, greater northeast India. So with that, I thank all of you to patiently listening me, and also thanks the organizer for inviting me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your address. It was really nice. And now I would like to call our keynote speaker for the today's session, Dr. J. Jagannathan, for his elaborative remarks.
Thanks, Kritika. After listening to both speakers, they have covered, three speakers, including the guest, chief guest. Um, I think they have covered almost all the contours of today's theme, where this dialogue is set to address. What I'm going to do in the next, in the next 5 to 10 minutes is that I'm going to just to bring the macro analysis about the theme about this India's Act East policy and how it is going to serve us interest and what is the trend and the trajectory of the India's Act East policy. So much has been said about the significance of the northeastern states, and I have even my brief intervention at the beginning also mentioned about the economic potential of the northeastern states, and also there is a sort of misperception or sort of the media propaganda about northeastern states to the rest of other India in terms of what is happening in northeast, which actually clouds the real potential, the economic potential, as I mentioned about this cultural diversity, and also the cultural heritage to respect the nature, and also the judicial exploitation of the use of the resources, natural resources. If you go to anywhere in the country, so see the majority of the thrust is that India's Act East policy in the last 10 years is to emphasize to get the northeastern states integrated with the ASEAN market. ASEAN is emerging market, and this was a what an effort by Indian side, for the last 20 years, trying to enhance the intra-regional trade within South Asia under the SARC. But what happened in 2014? I think I remember it's a Kathmandu summit where Pakistan has stymied the process of having a South Asia regional motor vehicle agreement to facilitate free flow of goods and also the vehicle transportation, including the goods cargo vehicles and also passenger vehicles. So as a result, what we had to think in terms of differently away from the SARC framework. And that's how we started putting emphasis on this Act East policy to integrate the ASEAN market. If you look at the overall intra-regional, the South Asia, the South Asia trade is it's less than 5% as compared to the ASEAN intra-regional trade, which is 25%. Trade is the big game changer, given, as I mentioned earlier, also that given the resource abundance in northeastern states, and also and also its proximity to the our India's extended neighbors. Because if you look at the northeastern states, India's boundaries in the northeastern states, 98% of the borders and boundaries are international in nature, international borders. Almost 5,500 kilometers we share in borders with countries like Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, in China, these countries. So so this is a big challenge was that the connectivity. We did not have, or we still don't have a seamless connectivity of all the capitals of the northeastern states with the rest of the states' capital, at least in the states like West Bengal or even Bihar and UP. That is changing now with the many initiatives. A couple of years back, I think in 2018, we had seen the bridge was opened in northeastern states. A lot of railway network being proposed, which is getting implemented in a fast track pace. Maybe it is also the Ministry of Road and Transport has also come out with the statement saying that by 2030 our rail network will reach all the northeastern states, including all the northeastern states capital will be on the railway map, Indian railway map. So which is going to enhance this. The other aspect is that the physical connectivity, there is a digital connectivity. There has been a lot of emphasis on the digital connectivity for the last 5 years, with the where there's a target was fixed to reach giving 4G network under the BharatNet to all the villages in the northeastern states, and there have been towers being established. So and also to so that the digital connectivity should be facilitated to the northeastern states. These are all happening within the effort from the Indian side, the sub-regional trade connectivity, realizing this potential to tap this sub-regional connectivity and the trade flows into the northeastern states, so that the trade potential can be utilized. The second point, Northeast as a bridge. I see the northeastern states in a two larger framework in the years to come, maybe down the line, maybe next 5 years or maybe next decade, and maybe perhaps that could have been a sort of a vision document or a set of a vision that we should have. The first framework is how the northeastern states can become in the overall ASEAN free trade area, and also to an extent China free trade area, to tap their potentials. The second, which is sort of a little bit, more of a sort of provocative, I see the northeastern states could be, from the strategic point of view, given the fact that that was also sort of highlighted by the Major Bansal, the China factor, the post-Galwan crisis, and given the India-China the bilateral issues that we have, and the Chinese authoritarian sort of an aggressive stand in the Indian case. So I would see that the northeastern states it should be, it is a year ahead in the overall India's engagement in the Indo-Pacific area. So there should be the two dimension to the making in India's active policy. Any policy it is evolving. So we need to add if you add the Indo-Pacific framework, that would be, most of the countries are Indo-Pacific framework. We do share borders with them. Why I'm emphasizing on this argument, the reason is the way the Chinese had stymied the Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar, the regional connectivity project, where the Chinese initially expressed their intention to build the networks, rather than it's sort of removed from the overall scheme of Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, due to the reason being coming out from the Chinese academia is that the the India stand on BRI is very critical. It doesn't recognize BRI as a legitimate project. That has been said. So it doesn't harm our intention to affect our intention to create this sub-regional connectivity, whereas we have a very good relationship with Bangladesh, and what is happening in Myanmar, it is also troublesome. It's going to have a spillover effect on India's northeastern states. So India has a huge stake in these areas, and we need to more focus in these areas beyond the trade and connectivity, to an extent to the covering the overall from the Indo-Pacific framework. This is what my argument, and I would like to put forth for more elaborate discussion and dialogue. The Indo-Pacific, in the next 10 years, the predictions coming from the World Bank or IMF forecasts about the markets, the regional markets. I think that China is going to be lose much in terms of its influence in the ASEAN market and even the Indo-Pacific region. Bilaterally, the relationships are not that cordial vis-a-vis China within the ASEAN countries. For instance, we witness the rise of Indonesia, for instance, Vietnam as an emerging economy in the ASEAN area. So you have India as an emerging area in South Asia, then and Bangladesh as a stable economy, it's also emerging. Then you have Indonesia, then you have Vietnam, and 2 or 3 more to become in next down the line 5-10 years. That is has a potential to challenge the Chinese dominance, market dominance in this region. And the two critical factors are the digital connectivity and also the physical connectivity to enhance the free flow of goods and trade. Uh, in that, I just like to sum up my keynote by saying that uh, there needs to be more substance in India's act policy with the strategic thing attached to it. Why I'm saying is that if you look at the Chinese influence or interference, I would say in the past 50 years in the northeastern conflict, it is very obvious, and we have a lot of data and things. Findings have come out to represent these Chinese have been involved to sort of destabilize the overall development in the northeastern state. That was quite visible, and that is visible in the Myanmar conflict. What is happening in the Myanmar conflict, and there is also sort of propaganda which has been unleashed to portray the Bangladesh the democratic process. So these are all India needs to look at all the factors and look more into the strategic in a broader framework, Indo-Pacific framework, as its policy towards activist policy. After all, the activist policy aim to integrate the ASEAN with the India's free trade agreement. With this, I'd like to thank the Red Lantern Analytica for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts, and thank you all for patience listening.
Thank you so much, sir, for your address. I would like to ask a question, like from the moderation team. I would like to ask the question. We say that Northeast was never in the, in past, it was not in the mainstream, and now it is come.
Is it just me or the audio of Kritika has cut down?
No, sir. The audio
Sure.
of Kritika
There
is
is
cut
one
down.
question in the
Now,
chat
is
which
it
we
better?
have received. That is from Samiksha, and she says that during an interview with the Hindu in October, Bhutanese PM had mentioned discussing a possible exchange of land between Doklam and northern Bhutanese areas. How will this turn put for India and affect our national security? I think this question is directed towards Jagannathan, sir. Sir, if you can answer this question of the participant.
I see it's in a sort of an isolated request, sort of a proposal. I would say the Bhutanese PM. I mean, if you look at the Bhutan political thing, that the monarch has the overall say than the prime ministers. I've been to Bhutan and interviewed met few officials almost 10 years ago. So their political system is totally different. So maybe this. I don't think so. Any sort of a land exchange in the Doklam linking and the northern Bhutanese area. I don't think so, because what India's stand is very clear when it comes to this Tri-Junction. It is a Bhutanese land. That is what the Chinese saying, that what is India is doing here, since it is a Bhutanese land. And what China is doing in most of this Tibetan border which India share, that's a sort of things. So I see it's a sort of an isolated case in terms of doesn't have any thing. So it's a given interview given to some newspaper, so maybe a proposal. I don't think so. This has any whole strong resonance in the bilateral relationship.
Thank you, sir. The next question, which has been asked by a participant, Ganesh, his question is directed towards Amit Bansal, sir, and he says that, what is your take on reports of Bhutan giving up? Okay, this I think is the same question. The Chinese authorities energetically recruiting Tibetans to move to these new locations with major construction efforts.
See, when you talk about Bhutan giving up Jakalung part, it is not Bhutan giving up. Bhutan said that we don't want to fight over it. There are two different kind of statements. Bhutan said we don't want to fight over it, and it's not that it is giving up under a treaty or it is giving it in the written. So overall security of Bhutan also is the overall security of India. So we'll take care of it, and Delhi will certainly react on that. And when we are talking about recruiting Tibetans, it is not correct. What China has been doing, China has been following a very, very critical pattern everywhere. It creates a township, and then it brings in people from the mainland China and Han people. It settles them over there. So recruiting Tibetan, I've not heard much about it. Maybe sporadic one or two statements. Mr. Dinesh is saying no. I don't know why, but yes, it is not. Bhutan is releasing its claim. Bhutan is saying we don't want to fight over this small part of land about Jakalung and all. But it's not saying that we'll give it to China. So it is a matter of dispute, and of course, India will be taking care of it. They'll be taking it forward along with the Bhutan.
Yes, sir. Jagannathan sir has put up his hand. Sir, if you want to respond.
Sorry, I've been provoked to respond to what the Major said. He's absolutely right. Ganesh, you see, this is, I don't know where the report come from. Maybe there could be a sort of news. If you look at the Bhutan and China, there are a lot of territories being encroached by Chinese, which the Bhutan sometimes claims, sometimes, as I said, that they don't want to pick up a fight with them, conflict with them, because the terrain is so difficult, you can't have control for a longer period. The Chinese will come all the way to control a long period, and anytime they can be pushed back, which we had seen, when we, India, I think way back in 10 years back, 15 years back, maybe there was a military action happened within the Bhutanese and Chinese border against the insurgents, the Maoist insurgents. So I think the land has been given by Bhutan. I don't think so. Bhutan would publicly say that we have given this much of land to China. I haven't come across any news report saying that Bhutan has handed over or any formally giving this some sort of territory, because that will have a domestic repercussions.
Thank you, sir, for clarifying on that. There is one last question which we'll be taking up, and that is that ONGC has found hydrocarbon deposits at the Mizoram-Assam border, Kolasib district, and these two states have some sort of a dispute. So this hinders hydrocarbon exploration, and what can be the possible solution for such situation? And there is something which I'll also like to add in this question only, that such disputes create fault lines which are then taken advantage of by international powers. So what is your suggestions for the Indian administration to deal with such tricky situations?
Whom are you asking this question? You to mention.
Sorry, this question was directed towards Jagannath.
I see this as an internal matter. In fact, there will be a long struggle when Tamil Nadu. There was hydrocarbons being discovered in Tamil Nadu, Tanjore district, in the Delta region, and there's a huge protest. And finally, the ONGC has gave up and consider things. But still, some of the areas where they have started digging and taking out this gas. I see this is more sort of an internal, intra-state sort of a dispute, or I won't say it's an issue. I think it can be resolved amicably, and we have a mechanisms to resolve amicably.
I would like to add on this. See, when you're talking about the natural resources, the right of the natural resources, it is on the central government. So state government has got nothing to do with this. So if ONGC has found the hydrocarbons in Kolasib, of course, it is a very initial stage. They need to do the exploration. There are different stages when you reach the natural resources. The first stage of exploration, second stage, and the third stage, and then you have to work out the commercial viability. And even after this, if the oil fields are viable, commercially viable, then the total control will be of ONGC, and ONGC is central PSU. Certainly, the state government, of course, respective areas will be taken over by ONGC and as per the policy. So, of course, it may create a minor dispute, but it doesn't. It will not end up into a big dispute as such. In this kind of scenario, the only say will be for the central government. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying on that part. This brings us to the end of the question and answer session, and I'll now like to invite Kusuma from the team of Red Lantern Analytica to deliver a formal vote of thanks to our respected panel members who have made this session possible. Over to you, Kusuma.
Thank you, sir. It was an enlightening session today, followed by a thought-provoking Q&A session. All your research and discussion on Siang dialogue provided us knowledge on how to view opportunities and challenges in the Northeast region. Our relay team would like to express gratitude to Shri Sujit Kumar sir, who couldn't join us today but sent us a insightful video on the importance of Northeast region. And also Major Amit Bansal, who provided us with diverse perspectives on the topic, covering from the history to aspects like insurgent groups, tribal groups, and the 3 Cs. Shri Ajay Dutt sir for his invaluable insights on cultural and strategic importance of Northeast region. And last but not the least, Dr. Jagannath sir for his excellent moderation and covering aspects on how Northeast region is a bridge for India in the form of economic, digital connectivity, and even internal aspects. On a warm note, thanks to all the participants who actively contributed in the Q&A session and also in our 2-day conference. And tomorrow we would like to welcome all of you for our last session, that is Tawang translation of the Siang dialogue, which is from 5 to 6:30 p.m. We will now take the permission of our respected speakers to bring the session to a close. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit sir, Jagannathan sir, for your time. Thank you so much for making this session possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nice.
Thank you, sir. With your due permission now, we'll bring this session to a close.